Good morning, everybody. I am Danny Rubin, the founder of Rubin. My colleague, Mac Dowd, is our implementation and training specialist. She's always joining us in the webinars. And Mac, you can turn off the camera and hang out in the chat. And welcome to our fifth installment, fifth of six, for our summer professional development series. How many of you, show of hands, have been to a previous summer series webinar with us? I know we've had a lot of people coming back, which is great. And how many of you, is this your first time here? First time at any of our webinars? Great. So we always welcome new folks in and try to make this a productive hour so you can leave with some real, honest, relevant materials to show to your students, to deliver in the classroom. And today we have a lot of good stuff lined up. And frankly, it's topics that we haven't gotten into in webinars before. We've covered all kinds of things, but we haven't done one just devoted to life skills. So this is a good opportunity to share some fresh material, even for those of you who have received free resources from us before. This today is all new by and large. So love to get that out there. And we'll do that right now. We always start off the same way by giving out some free resources while we're together at the beginning. We'll mention it again at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen. And if those of you who have been here before, you know how we start things off. By the way, I'm just checking the chat here. Jane's here for the first time. Diana's here, not the first time. She's always here. Wonderful. Liz as well. Great to have you both here. So we put together a whole new set of resources in a Google folder. How many of you have received our Google folders before? I know we passed it around to many of you over the last several months. Today, it's all about life skills. And we're going to go through these topics together, but I want you to know what we want you to have. So we're going to talk about shaking hands, holding a face-to-face conversation or virtually, how to take a headshot, sign your name in cursive, email your teacher about a poor grade, and how to respect other people's opinions. Doesn't this look like a nice, strong selection of life skills applicable for whatever is going on in your classroom? These are some essential skills, as we call it, the stuff of life. That's what we're getting into today. And we also always like to pass along an online checklist for virtual presentations. So a quick reminder, a one-sheet reminder for how to prepare, what to do before you speak and as you deliver that presentation. So all those resources from the previous slide and this one, and for those who are new, this is how we do it. If you'd like these resources, please right now go to the chat, type the word interested and your email address. If you are new to our community, what we love to do is have a quick phone call before the end of the week to introduce ourselves and help you understand how to bring this content into your classroom with whatever it is you have going on this fall. So for those who are interested, type the word interested and your email address, and we will get this out as quickly as possible. And for the new folks, we would love to have a quick hello so we can meet each other, learn more about what you do. So it would be a Google invite on your calendar for 5 minutes in the next couple of days for the new folks who are brand new to our community. Okay, so thanks for those who are putting their information in right now. And for those of you who will watch us on a recording, we have a lot of folks who watch it later. You can still receive these resources by emailing us with the subject line, Rubin Life Skill Worksheets. Okay, now, 2 other things to mention, and thanks for those who are putting their emails in. We have one more session of our summer learning series, and it's all about the ultimate CTSO competition training. How many of you are an advisor to a CTSO? And put your CTSO in the chat right now. Which one do you advise? See, this image has a bunch of them listed. We have HOSA and FBLA, State Advisor for Kentucky DECA. Thank you. Skills, FBLA, 4-H. Okay, so we're going to go into lessons for public speaking, presentations, interviews, all those employability skills students have to bring to the table to compete and win. We're going to go through some of those lessons on August 11th. So you'll see that come out in your email, but make a point to join us in 2 weeks for our final PD series for the summer. And then we'll get into our virtual internship webinars in the school year. where we invite our students. But this is the last one for educators. I know some of you would have already started your year. Students can join you, okay? So students can come, no problem there. I know we have some students today. So just know that. Now, the last thing, everybody here today, so you can get that 1 hour of PD time, we'll send out a certificate Thursday morning as well, proof that you were here, right? You can sign your name to it. And you can show it as evidence that you spent the hour with us today. So that's all coming to you tomorrow. All right. So just hang tight on that. Thanks to those who put their information in. Let me close this out and hop back to another screen. Here we go. Come up here and close this. All right. We can see my screen okay. It says emerge right here. Can somebody confirm that for me? Okay. Great. So again, for those who are new, we always need to step back and explain where the learning and the instruction comes from today. We believe very deeply in the importance of context. It's hard to know what to do with information if you don't know where it comes from. So we are the Rubin Company. We have an online curriculum called Emerge, teaching students as early as middle school and transition populations through high school and adult ed and post-secondary how to communicate well for college and career opportunities. I am a former TV news reporter for a CBS affiliate here in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. So all of the knowledge and skills, the techniques we teach come out of journalism. Learning how to write well, speak well, interview people, hold conversations, tell stories. Today, skills like shaking hands. So all those skills come out of journalism, come out of industry best practice. So your students know how to communicate at their best wherever they want to go. Raise your hand if it's important to teach industry best practice to your students. We want to give them what the outside world is doing, right? What works. That's what this is. So our curriculum is called Emerge, and we cover a wide variety of topics. We're going to go through many of these units today. We cover email etiquette. We cover life skills and special exercises for inclusion, access, equity, and diversity, one of which we'll do later. How many of you have made inclusion and access a big component of your instruction or maybe your division's overall philosophy? So we get into that too in our own way. Phone and video etiquette. We teach how to leave a voicemail. We're not doing that one today, ran out of time, but voicemails are important, right? How many of you think your students should know how to call a business and leave a voicemail? So we get into that. Networking skills, resumes, our storytelling cover letter approach, where they learn to tell an example of a time they overcame a challenge. We did a lot of that in our last webinar a couple of weeks ago. Internship and job outreach, emails, LinkedIn profile creation, job interview preparation. We also teach a lot of entrepreneurial communication, idea development, sales writing, website page writing, like writing a business website page, or a student e-portfolio. How many of you help students with e-portfolios, writing about their achievements? We talk about that. PR skills, fundraising communication. And we also do leadership skills, writing as a manager, writing to clients and customers, project management, email correspondence, public speaking training, report writing, to include a status report, a memo, an executive summary, an elevator pitch, and student leadership communication skills for those CTSO, student council, yearbook, whatever's going on in the school. So a big wide library of how-tos, lots of short 20-minute, 25-minute exercises in a big library. And we're going to go through many of these today together, and we'll give them out in a Google folder, as I said, to those of you who had requested it. So let's dive into the instruction and let's talk through many of these life skill lessons. And actually, I forgot to do one thing. I want to share my sound because we have a couple of videos. Okay. Hopefully the internet speed will play nicely and it'll go just according to plan. Isn't that nice when things go according to plan? Hope I'm not setting myself up for something by saying that. So let's first talk about shaking hands. Now, I know we're in a very strange place with COVID, right? We're not quite sure when to shake hands or how to shake hands, but let's live in a world today where shaking hands is okay again. And maybe in your community it is, and I hope it is, and I hope it stays that way as we head into the fall and colder months, and we don't quite know what's going to happen. But let's just imagine shaking hands, okay? What we have provided you, and we'll talk about together, is a video and some instructions on how to shake hands, but also how to not shake hands. We need students to see how to not shake hands and then how we want them to shake hands, right? Because doesn't it help to see both ways? Aren't most of our students visual learners? They need to see what we want them to understand. We can't just tell them to do it. So let's watch a short video together and we'll talk about it in the chat.
Hi, my name is Danny Rubin, the founder of Rubin Education. First impressions are critical in business, and it often begins with a handshake and eye contact. Let's watch two young professionals as they greet each other for the first time.
Good afternoon. You must be Jesse.
Yeah, that's me. How's it going?
It's going well. Come back into the conference room.
Okay.
Did you see Jesse in that scene? He had a weak handshake and he didn't make steady eye contact. That is not a way to demonstrate confidence and professionalism when you meet somebody new. Now let's watch the same scene again and see Jesse meet that person the right way.
Good afternoon. You must be Jesse. I'm Danielle.
I am. It's great to meet you. Thank you for having me today.
Nice to meet you as well. Follow me.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's go to the chat and give me your thoughts on that video and where you might show that video along with the worksheet we provide for the exercise. But where might you have students watch that video and where would they then practice this skill? Let's talk about it in the chat. Where, and make sure you're doing all panelists and attendees. Let's share ideas here. Where could you teach students even early in the year? Where and when would they learn to shake hands? Let's see some ideas. Because again, this is not just a webinar that it comes and goes today. We want to make this real and get these skills out there in the classroom. So we said, Michelle says, first CTSO meeting of the year. Seeing a lot of good stuff here. It's going so fast. At the door upon entering, says Jackie. Hi, Jackie. We have entering the classroom. Use this in my exploring careers class. Teaching employability skills, capstone course, beginning of the school year, first 4-H meeting. Oh my gosh, I can't even follow it all. During soft skills lesson, watch the video and try again. I like that. Prior to a career fair. Yeah, I like, Jane said, I like the idea of at the door. That would be a great sort of daily reminder, right? But it wasn't just the hand, right? What was he doing with his eyes? Well, it's two parts, right? What was the young man doing with his eyes? The second time, he looked the person right in the eyes, right? So the firm handshake and the eyes. So it's both. And we want to make sure that we are making, that they are following through on that eye contact. It's hard right now. We've all been in our homes by ourselves. We need to give them the confidence to say, it's okay to look somebody in the eyes. Give them that firm handshake, look them in the eye. What does it say to the other person? What does it say to the other person if you give a firm handshake and look them in the eyes? What does it say about you? When you're walking in the classroom, going to an interview, Carrie Ann says body language speaks volumes. It says you're important, you're interested, you're confident, you're present. I'm interested and I matter and you matter. That's right. So all in that, 2 seconds, right? And we know it's going to take students many times to get this skill down. So it'd be great to do it every day or at every meeting or more than once, right? We don't learn any skill by doing it one time. We have to do it lots of times. So this would be a great lesson to show them the video. We have a little worksheet, but it's pretty self-explanatory. They practice shaking hands, right? And then they could even talk about the experience, what it felt like. I understand there are cultural norms where perhaps shaking hands the way I'm describing it is not the way in certain cultures it's done. And I get that. We want to make sure that we are addressing people, engaging with them the way that they want to be addressed with and engaged with. This is sort of the most blanket middle road approach today, but please understand, and we've had these conversations before, it's a big country, it's a big world. And we have to know our audience, right? Who we're talking to, what they want from us. So you can adjust this accordingly, but always make sure we're showing them poor behavior, effective behavior back to back, because that's what's going to make this stick. Okay. Thank you for all the comments and for watching that video. Now, we have a lot of good stuff to share today. I want to get through it all. Let's go to the next one. I got another video and another activity that I would love for you to do early in the year. It's really powerful. Doesn't take a lot of time, and you can do it as many times as you'd like. Just a quick question. I see Jean had a question, and please make sure we're doing all panelists and attendees. She said, greetings during COVID. Yes, you can do the elbow, right? You can do a fist bump. You can wave. But in any event, what should you do with your eyes? However, whatever part of your hand or your arm you're using, where should your eyes be? Just because you do an elbow doesn't mean you can look down, right? The eye contact is always needs to be there. So let's not lose sight of that. However, the students feel comfortable, or your school division feels comfortable with students greeting each other, hopefully they don't see a problem with eye contact, because even with a mask on, still got your eyes there, right? In fact, that's all we see. That's all we see as our eyes at this point. So let's maximize that. Okay, thank you for the questions. I'm trying to keep up, and I want to keep us moving. Let's get to the next topic, which is also for those of you who need to make sure you're reinforcing diversity lessons. This also plays off of diversity and inclusion, but it's also doubles as a great icebreaker and a way to teach students how to hold conversations with new people, and underscores a powerful life lesson that we often do not learn until far too late, which is the power of active listening. How many of you believe that active listening and listening may be more important than talking? In many instances, listening has just as much, if not more value than talking all the time. And we really need to tell our young people that listening is the key to success and the key to opening that next door. So let's watch another video, A Wrong and Right. It's a little bit longer, but just hang with me, not too much longer. And it'll again spark the conversation. Let's watch a video together.
Hi, my name is Danny Rubin, the founder of Rubin Education. So many times in our lives, we come face to face with somebody new and we start a conversation. And what comes next? What should we say to somebody new to win their respect and show that we care about what that person is doing in his or her life? Let's watch a scenario play out with two people who meet for the very first time.
Hey, good to see you. I'm Esmel Meeks.
Hi, Kevin O'Day.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Kevin.
to meet you as well.
What do you do for work?
I'm a realtor. I help people buy and sell homes.
Awesome. How was your week?
This week has been absolutely terrible. I've had the roughest week I've had in a long time.
My week has been terrible. Let me tell you about it.
Oh, okay.
My train was 5 minutes late, which made me 5 minutes late for a meeting. And I get back home, my car won't start. So then I'm 5 minutes late for a date with my girlfriend. And my girlfriend's all mad at me because I'm late for dinner.
Oh, wow. That does sound
And then we
tough.
get back home, we didn't take the dog out, and the dog soiled the carpet. So my week was terrible.
Yeah, that sounds tough. So I'm sorry, man. Yeah, that's really tough.
Anyways, tell me about your week.
Okay, did you see Kevin's face during that networking exchange? Did he look unhappy to you, a little disappointed? That's because Esmel took the conversation away from Kevin and hogged the moment and had the spotlight. When Kevin instead wanted to share about his week, Esmel instead talked about his. The best networkers let other people talk and have the floor, and they listen. Let's see that scenario one more time and see how Kevin reacts now.
Hey, I'm Esmel Meeks.
Hi, Kevin O'Day. Nice to meet you.
Very good to meet you. What do you do for work, Kevin?
I'm a realtor. I help people buy and sell homes.
Awesome. How was your week?
You know what, Esmel? I'm glad you asked. It's been a really tough week, actually.
Oh, sorry to hear that. What happened?
Clients entrust me with their homes and with the journey of buying and selling a home. And I had these clients that arrived from out of town. They came in a little late. We went to go see a home they were really in love with, and it was filled with water. And so they looked to me for an answer. I didn't have one for them. So it's been just a really rough week overall. I've had to take it. I've been very emotional about it, and I'm just not sure what to do next.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Kevin.
I appreciate that.
Okay, let's back up and talk about this one. Give me your thoughts on what you just watched. The second time around, What did the young man on the right, what did he do differently? The person here said, I've had a really rough week. And what did he do next? What did he say next? Tell me in the chat. Tell us in the chat. What happened the second time? He asked more about that man's week. He said, what happened? Right? The first time, what was he doing? The first time, it was all about who? The first time was all about who? Me, right? I don't care what you're talking about. I'm the show. I have all the things to say, right? And the second time he listened, right? Now, let's talk about it again. Either in your class or in your CTSO, where, let's say you paired off your students and we give you the activity, okay? You pair off your students, you have them go back and forth. And for 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, one person gets to ask the questions, the other person answers, and then they switch. So the student has to learn how to ask questions. Okay. So where could you use this lesson? It could take as little as 15 minutes. Where could you pair students up and have them learn to talk to each other using their listening mindset? Let's get some examples in the chat again of where this lesson, maybe it goes right off of the shaking hands and learning to talk to people. Where could that go? Okay, Liz, make sure all panelists and attendees, please, during chapter meetings, anytime you have 10 minutes to spare, that's right. Beginning of the course, as we discussed classroom and expectations. Yep. Great first day activity, says Rebecca. What else we got? I love these ideas because, again, I want to help make this real. These are critical skills. This is one of the best life skills you could ever teach a young person, is to listen more than they talk. Because when you listen, you open that next door, right? And what we provided you is what we call our 6 most powerful words in networking. What are they? Right here. See them? Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Why would I say that those are the 6 best words in networking? Can somebody take a guess in the chat? Why are these the best words? Why would I choose these words? If we use these words, then what are we doing? We're starting every sentence with it's a keyword, question. We're teaching our students to ask questions. And again, I talk about taking industry best practice. Isn't this what journalists do? Has anybody ever watched an interview on 60 Minutes? Maybe NPR, anybody listen to Terry Gross? They're the best at asking questions, right? They listen and they follow up with questions. So the student says, I just had the best weekend ever. I had so much fun. What should their classmates say next? I had the best weekend ever. I had so much fun. What does that student say next? What? Thank you, Diana. What happened? Right? Because don't you know that that student was excited to share about their weekend and they were about to tell you what they did. And then the other student said, oh, well, let me tell you about my weekend. And it's like the air goes out of the balloon, right? It's like, I wanted to tell you about my weekend, but you took the thunder. You stole the stage, right? We've all been in that moment when we're excited to talk about something and it gets ripped away from us. So the student says, well, what did you do? Right? And the other student says, oh, I went and saw this really great movie. So what would you say next to that student? I saw a really great movie. It was so funny. What would the next question be? That's right. What was the movie? Right? So we're teaching students to ask follow-up questions, right? If a person wants to talk about something, then we focus on what they want to talk about, right? We let them direct the conversation. If they want to talk about that movie, let's talk about it. Let them tell you all about it. Let them talk for 2 or 3 minutes, uninterrupted. You ask questions, but you stay on them. You don't talk about the movies you saw. Not your turn yet, right? And here's the craziest thing about it. You could take students and they can learn this lesson in the classroom, take it to competition, take it to a college admissions conversation, take it anywhere. And if they spend time asking other people questions, you know what happens here? The craziest thing about it? At the end of that conversation or at the end of that day, the person they met will say, I met the greatest young man or young woman today. And all that student did was ask questions. And the more questions they ask, the more impressive they look. Raise your hand if you understand what I'm saying. The people who ask questions gain the most respect. It seems counterintuitive. Like, shouldn't you be talking all the time? No. You should be learning about others, because the more they talk about themselves, the more they like you. Isn't that the craziest thing? Doesn't it seem almost backwards? So, show of hands, who is willing to come to school August, September and try this lesson out with their students? Break students into pairs and have them practice this more than once. And then they will go into the community. They will go to your industry partners. They will go to college admissions conversations, scholarship application conversations, and they will learn how to ask questions, and they will gain more opportunities by learning to have a listening mindset. So it's a simple exercise, and we've given you everything you need. The video, the word examples, the instructions, everything is in this Google folder that I mentioned that we'll send out afterwards, okay? So I really, really want you to test drive this out and teach students that it's almost the opposite of what we think we're supposed to do, and that's what has the biggest impact in the world, okay? I think I've worked this one down to the ground. If you have any other questions, ask in the chat, but we will move on to our next topic. We want to really get through a lot today, and those were our first two. Now, let's switch to another topic. Headshots. How many of you help students take a professional looking photo? And for what purpose? Where do they do it? Is it for CTSO? Is it for student government? Is it for an entrepreneurship class? Where are they taking their pictures, or where would you want them to take their picture? Leadership positions, for our website. Okay. Jane says, I have not done this. That's fine too. That's what today's all about. Okay. Let's talk about a good headshot. Now, selfishly, or maybe just for legal reasons, I've chosen to use my own picture than somebody on the internet, right? So let me show you a picture of a headshot that I actually had taken at a CTE conference in Portland, Oregon, a couple years ago, well, pre-pandemic. Now, what do you notice about this picture? First of all, what am I wearing? What am I wearing? What's hanging around my neck? That's right, wearing a tie. How's the lighting? Is the lighting even? Is the photo cropped appropriately? Can you see me clearly? Right? It's not a Facebook photo. You know, people like crop out another person next to them, and you see like the edge of their shoulder and then you. Is that what we want in a headshot? A photo taken from Facebook with someone's shoulder in the edge of the picture? No, we want just the student against a clear, a non-distracting background where they look good, they're dressed well, right? That's what we want. And I will tell you, we've had classes do this lesson. I recall one in particular in Iowa in a CTE class where they had the photography club come down the hall, bring their camera, and take their classmates' photos. Has anybody done something like that before? And I'm smiling too. Thank you, Liz. I am smiling, right? Why look unhappy? Could you have students in your class or a camera in the building come to take your picture to give those students who like photography the chance to practice? I mean, why not check off even more boxes, right? So I would recommend early in the year, if possible, to have a headshot day. Have them come dressed up, have a solid background, like a white wall or something that's just not a lot going on back there, and have them one at a time have their picture taken. Because as you've already seen in the chat, we can use that photo in so many places for at least that next year, right? In portfolios, in applications, on websites, social media. There's so much value. I'm probably giving out this headshot once or twice a month for speaking engagements or website bios, or it's just, I'm always grabbing it, right? You have to have it. It is a life skill. That's what we're doing today. So if you could help students capture their headshot early in the year, you will do them so much good because they're going to need it. And it's much, much better than if they're grabbing a Facebook or Instagram photo that's clearly not professional to go after the same opportunities, right? Don't you think it's true? And it's unfair, but it's true that people make snap judgments. People do judge books by their cover, do they not? Do they not? Do people judge books by their cover every day? A photo? They do. They do. We all do. Okay. We can say we don't. We want to look past that, but we do, because competition is tough and people are busy and we cannot risk it. Right? First impressions do matter. Shaking that hand, holding that conversation, our photo, these things all add up, don't they? They really do. And if your students aspire to go to a certain college or land that big scholarship or win that big election, all of these skills matter. Or even if they don't have these huge aspirations to be the president of whatever group, they just want to be a good member, a great student. It still matters there too. It matters for all of us. So again, another lesson to put in your toolkit as time allows. And I hope that what I'm giving you, these lessons, they don't gobble up the whole day. They're quick. You can slip them in, hopefully. But they have lifelong impact. And students will lean on these skills truly for the rest of their life. Okay, so that's the next one coming to you in the Google folder. Now let's move on to the next topic, one that we love to talk about in the Rubin community because we know it's a gap. Okay, signing your name in cursive. How many of your students struggle or may not know today, and it's okay, how to sign their own name? How many of them you give them an application and you watch them print their name because they're not sure of the cursive letters? And that's okay. We, the Rubin team, we are not here to judge anybody. We just know that the world has become much more technological, digital, all of that. But the skills we're showing you today, they mattered 50 years ago, and they're going to matter 50 years from now, right? They're still going to matter. Despite all the technology and all the Chromebooks and all the this and all that, you have to know these skills. Okay. So to help your students learn, we put together, again, a little activity, quick stuff that I recommend they practice more than once. So this is what's coming your way. Rhonda says they can't sign their name or read their name. So we've given you a PDF with capital letters in cursive, lowercase letters in cursive, sample names. And the lesson, and they can do this on a tablet or a laptop or with pen and paper, is to practice signing their name multiple times. Again, something you could bring back around multiple times, reinforce it so that they don't have to know how to write everything in cursive. Maybe that day is gone and that just may be the pace of progress, but they must know how to sign their name. It's a sense of confidence to know how to sign your name. How many times in a week, a month, a year do you sign your name on documents? Dozens, hundreds maybe. And it would hurt you inside each time, a sense of anxiety to feel like you don't know what to do and you're afraid to ask. And we can't send students out in the world not knowing how to sign their name because it would eat at them every day. And would you be too afraid to ask as a young adult in a job to ask someone to show you? How many of you would be too embarrassed or ashamed to ask someone to help you? I know I would. So this is the moment where we teach them. We step in and we teach them so that they don't have to face that embarrassment thousands of times in their life. Because that's really what it comes down to. And it's nobody's fault. I don't know why cursive signatures or cursive lettering left the schools. Maybe it's because it's just not what's taught today. And I'm not here to judge that, but we must teach them how to sign their name. So again, the worksheet will give you, guides them through, shows them the examples, has them practice multiple times how to sign their name. so that you can send students out the door with this skill in hand. Okay. Thank you for all the comments. I'm trying to keep up. And again, please make sure you're doing all panelists and attendees. Joanne says, I've had a student come to me and ask me to write their name in cursive. How many of you has that happened to, where the student asks you, can you do it for me? Or can you show me? Or maybe they don't ask at all because they don't want you to know that they don't know, because it's such a common thing all the time. Thank you for sharing in all your comments. It's really, it adds a lot to our session. Okay. Now let's move on to our next topic, another life skill. I'm trying to cover a lot of ground today. In emailing an instructor about a poor grade. Oh boy, here we go. How many of you have received an email from a student with a not so friendly tone of voice asking about why you gave them a particular grade? Any hands there? How many of you have received a message saying, why'd you give me that grade? Heidi says, oh boy, yup. And how does that email make you feel when it's accusatory, it's upset, it's angry, it's charged? How does that email make you feel? It's like, oh, right? Slow down. Heidi says, ugly, on defense, defensive, blaming you, not taking accountability. It's probably all the lowercase or all uppercase. That checks out. Okay, so let's give them an example of an email, a template, because in our company, we're really big on templates. Let's show them how we want the message to look. So when they do need to write us, the tone is different. And also they're going to learn some communication skills along the way about what it means to be an effective communicator. Okay, so let's look at the subject line. Follow up about the grade for final exam. Now, why would I do that? If you're getting probably hundreds of emails a day, and if an email just says follow up about grade or follow up versus follow up about grade for final exam, which email are you going to look at first? Which one's going to catch your eye first? The one that says follow up, or the one that has no subject line, which many students do, or the one that says follow up about grade for final exam? Which one are you going to open first? That's right. And why? Why? Because it's specific. In our sessions, we talk about this every single time. We want to teach students the power of being detail-oriented, especially in a crowded space like an email inbox. So we reference the assignment or the task that we are concerned with. We talk about addressing teachers by Mr. or Ms. or doctor or coach or professor, not your first name, not a nickname, not like they're your best friend, not too casual. We say good morning or good afternoon. We start with a pleasantry. I'm writing you to discuss the grade I received. Actually, let me do this. We have a little highlight tool. It's helpful. I'm writing you to discuss the grade I received on the name of the task or assignment, the final exam in advanced marketing. We name it again because I know that you have a lot of students. And sometimes the email comes from a student with just a number in as their email address. You don't always know who you're talking to. It helps for the student to be specific about, again, the assignment and the class. I want to better understand why I received a particular grade and how I can improve for next time. Please let me know if we can meet at it. They can give a time that they know is appropriate for you. And they say thanks. They sign their name. And we also have an assignment in our curriculum where they learn to make an email signature. How does this email look in terms of tone of voice? What does the tone of this email say to you, opposed to the ones you've received that put you on the defensive? How does this one feel? Respectful, neutral, it's a good word, professional. Thank you. So we want to teach students, you have every right to advocate for yourself. Nobody would say you can't ask questions about grades you receive. In fact, this student's saying, I want to know how to get better. They're not saying, fix my grade right now, you did it wrong. They're saying, I want to understand why. I want to get better. So think about the emails you've received in the past versus this one. And then think about if the student took this mentality and applied that mentality to emails one day with their boss, with coworkers, with clients, right? Is this not a life skill? How you treat people? And we talk a lot in here about treating people the way you want to be treated. That takes many forms, and this is one of them. You want to reach out to your instructor the way that you'd want to be contacted by an upset student, right? So we learn these skills in the sandbox, and then we remember to apply them the rest of our lives in various forms and scenarios. So this is one more. Okay, so we'll pass along this example too. Rhonda says they would be respected by their superiors. And that brings up an interesting point, Rhonda and everyone. How many of your students one day hope to lead a team, be a manager, be a president, be a CEO? Well, how do you get there? How do you go up that ladder? Is it by taking a harsh tone with your boss? Is that going to get you a promotion? Or is it by advocating for yourself but being respectful along the way? Which one's going to get you there? Right? So all these little moments, these little messages and the way we conduct ourselves, they factor into our total body of work so that when the moment comes for that promotion, that next big step, who is that boss going to think about? Right? So it all plays a part. Nothing we do lives in isolation or in a silo or a vacuum where it just is this right here and it never plays into anything else we do, right? It's all there, right? The good, bad, the ugly. It's all part of who we are throughout our lives. Thank you, Jane, for your comment. And that's what this is about. We don't expect students to know exactly what they want to do. Trust me, the work I'm doing today is not exactly what I thought I'd be doing at 16, 17. Life's funny, right? In a good way. But this is about building that foundation for whatever they're going to do. Now, let's finish out with one more lesson that I would love for you to try as time allows, which gets to that diversity, equity, access, inclusion in a unique way. Okay? Let me ask you a question. This is not a political question. Just American society. Are you tired of people shouting at each other and not listening to each other? People only agreeing with certain opinions and not weighing the opinions of others? Only believing what they believe and shutting out the rest of the world? I'm tired of that. I see some comments in the chat that are tired of that. Okay? This is not a political exercise, what we're about to do. You can infer what I'm saying, but what we're having students do is not a political exercise, but it is, again, about listening and learning to respect someone else's viewpoint, even though it's not yours. Because that skill, clearly, in America, is either lost or it's pretty close to being gone. And I'm pretty tired of it. And what's beautiful is we all have the opportunity, to turn that around, to fix that, to change that. Because you have an incredible opportunity to shape young minds. And I can't speak for the folks out there in the world today. Maybe they're too jaded. But do you think there's a chance that we can reach the students today, shape them, send them out the door thinking differently? I want to believe that. Or I wouldn't do what I'm doing. And neither would you. So let's talk about this exercise together. We're going to go back into pairs, just like that networking conversation exercise, okay? And you're going to have them hold an argument discussion about a benign topic. We've provided 14 different questions for you. Let's look at a few together. I'll give you a chance. Just read a few of these with me. What is your favorite video game and why? Should there be winners and losers in sports, or is participation the ultimate goal? Should classes that students may not use or don't interest them be required? Should toilet paper hang with the loose end resting on the top of the roll or hanging from the bottom? Right? Is social media good or bad for society? questions that are not political in nature. They're just discussion points, right? And the students take opposing views in their back and forth. And then they present as a pair. But here's the kicker. Each student presents on what they appreciate or value from the other person's perspective, not their own, right? They say, so-and-so believed that this was the best video game, and they made a good point about this or that. Do you see what I'm getting at? Do you understand what I'm doing here, what we're doing here together? Okay. Now, you know, and I know that there's a really tough political environment right now. People don't want to hear each other. They are hunkered down in their positions. We're not doing that here, but we're learning in a more fundamental way to appreciate what someone else thinks, even though it might be completely opposite of what you think. The best we can do is to find common ground and hear each other, see each other, understand each other. Let's start there, right? And thank you, Jennifer. So this is a powerful exercise. It is powerful. Now think about it. You do it this way. You can have them in pairs, mix them up. They can do this as many times as you want, as many times in the year as you want. Pick a new topic every time. Do it over and over again. Grind it down into them that it is okay, it is respectful, it is necessary to respect someone else's viewpoint. Because the world needs that skill perhaps more than any other skill right now. And I can't think of a more important and lofty life skill than this. Okay? Thank you, Pam. And again, this is something that we developed over the summer. So this is brand new for everybody. Even if you use our curriculum, this is new stuff, okay? So we're sending this out in that Google folder. And as you do these lessons, please be in touch with us. Let us know how it goes. We want to hear from you. We want to know the impact that it has. Do this lesson, have your admins there watching, right? Let them know that you are teaching diversity, access, inclusion. You're teaching it in a real, meaningful way. It's not just a YouTube video and you check the box. You're getting them to feel this, to experience it, to be the ambassadors for your school division out in the world with this mindset of, I believe what I believe, and I can always change my beliefs, but I respect what you believe too. And I don't hate you for it. I don't look down on you for it. I respect you for it, right? So thank you for all of the comments here. I really do feel like this message is getting across, and I'm excited to see what you all do with this material. And also, please share this material with your colleagues. People often ask, can I share this? Yes. You get that Google folder, share it. Send it out far and wide, as far as you want, because knowledge should travel, good stuff should travel, and I want to put it in your hands to make it real, because you reach the students everywhere you are. We're here trying to put out good stuff that you can use, okay? So let's sort of make that turn for home. And for those who missed it, I know like Jennifer just asked, let me return to what I was mentioning at the beginning, okay? So that we can make sure everybody gets these resources. Let me share my screen one more time. All right, so for those who missed it, and now everything we just did, okay, is in this Google folder. Shaking hands, holding a conversation, headshot, signing your name, emailing your teacher, respecting people's opinions. Everything we just did with guides and examples and videos, all these things are in there, okay? We also put together an online presentation checklist, which we always give out because it's just a part of life now, giving online presentations. So it's a good one-page checklist on how to deliver engaging presentations, okay? So if you missed it and you like these resources, please go to the chat, type the word interested and your email address. If you are new to our community, to our Rubin webinars, we would love to have a quick phone call to say hello, learn what you're teaching, bring this into your class. So type interested in your email. And for the new folks in our community, just a quick hello, pass it along, explain it, direct you to it, do what you need to do. And for those who are new, we would send you a Google invitation for 5 minutes, likely tomorrow or Friday before a weekend, and then you have it in time for the school year. Okay, so thanks to those who put their information. Now, and also last couple things, if you're watching this on a recording, you can email us for the resources with the subject line Rubin Life Skills Worksheets. Last two things, we have our final summer learning series PD session on August 11th, 11:30 in the morning, Eastern time, where we're going to cover the ultimate CTSO competition training. So even if you're here on the college side, really this applies with any student organization, but we have a lot of people here who are advisors at the high school level, the middle school level, for many of the groups listed in this image here. So we're going to cover interview tips, public speaking tips, presentation tips. So when they get up there and they present, they go after those awards, local, state, and national, they will impress the judges by switching how they approach each of these opportunities. So that's in 2 weeks. And finally, for everybody here today, and the students can have this too, if you're watching with us, a certificate that you were here. So you can show it as proof to get your 1 hour of continuing education credit, if some of you came for that, and I know some of you do. So that's coming to you tomorrow morning. Look in your email tomorrow morning for the certificate. Okay, so again, that's all the housekeeping notes from us. Let me jump back, turn off the screen share, ask if there are any final questions, anything else that it's on your mind or that we didn't address or that you may have asked but we missed. Throw it in the chat right now. Otherwise, I'll give you back a few minutes of your morning, your afternoon, and you can use these resources in your own time. Any other comments? Thank you for everybody commenting now. Again, we couldn't do this without you. I know it's still summertime and we appreciate the attendance throughout the summer. One more thing to mention, we do have, how many of you came in the last school year to our webinars, our virtual internship webinars, where we invited our students to come? I know that we've had many people come to those, and let me just remind you that those are coming back at the end of August. So all last year, we did these sessions where we interviewed people from different jobs, a nurse, this was the electrical trades, cybersecurity, social media marketing, law, the film industry, video games, law enforcement, real estate, and agriculture. We're going to have a whole new set of guests and occupations for the fall semester. Going to roll that out in the next couple of weeks. So starting in late August, we'll have a 45-minute student-focused live session twice a month where they can come and interview and ask questions about professionals in different jobs. And then we will make those recordings available. So keep an eye out for that and make sure you bring your students when they're back in the classroom, and we'll switch our focus to the school year and do that throughout the fall. So just a heads up that that's coming shortly. Okay. Thank you to everyone for all your comments. And again, thank you for being here. And hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks for our CTSO student organization focused session. And then we'll dive into the new school year. Here we go. So thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you soon.